Hello, hello, what is up, all my humans out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din coming at you with another episode review of Star versus the Forces of Evil. This time it's season 4, the final season's episode 11, and with the A side titled The Night Shift. And speaking of which, it is currently night in Muni Castle, as we see a gathering of the various humans and monsters out there attending the knighting of one Sir, what was it? Sir Cuddles. Which is always a fun name to give to someone with spines and scales and all that good stuff. And I also love this little kind of offhanded moment where the mother of Sir Cuddles actually starts to freak out for a moment because she's unused to seeing a queen with a sword not actually trying to behead a monster. So it's like this well, not nice, kind of more sad moment of like this PTSD. Maybe that's what happened to, Mr. Cuddles, Sir Cuddles' dad. Very intense. But we also see that Marco as well has been knighted. He has ascended from squire to true knighthood. And on top of that, we actually see various characters from, when Marco first became a squire, namely Higgs and her crew, Baby Man and Old Guy, all have been knighted as protectors of the realm of Muni. And we even see that the I think it's the cloak or cape or whatever that Marco got from River, I think it was, when he first helped save Muni. That Star has sewed in all the various adventures and stuff that Marco has done, leaving a spot open for something called his lifelong post. And we also see that I guess a doppelganger of Marco's school counselor, Mr. Candle. Um, but this guy says that his name is Sir Crandall. So, but it's made very apparent that this is Mr. Candle in some way, shape, or form. Somehow, some way he's here, which I don't know if that's just a joke or if this is actually a plot point. It just takes you off guard when you see it. And he even performs kind of the role of a guidance counselor as he tries to help Marco sort out what his lifelong post will be, the post that he'll be at till the day he dies. But once Marco starts kind of thinking about it, he doesn't really feel like rolling along with this, despite how excited Star is about, seeing what Marco will be for the future. But Marco says that ultimately he's decided to quit being a knight. And he explains to Star that ultimately he never really planned on staying on Muni for the rest of his life. If you remember, his whole thing of going to Muni was only meant to be a limited time thing. He was always supposed to just go back home at some point in some way, shape, or form or capacity, which ultimately kind of disappoints Star, and she feels a little embarrassed in the fact that she really thought they would kind of be together forever for the most part after everything that they've been through. And I don't blame her for thinking this, but ultimately it was never really gonna stick, honestly. And Marco ends up later on feeling kind of bad that he kind of feels like maybe he led Star on about how things were gonna go, and he doesn't want to leave things on this sour note of the potential of him leaving Muni. But he ultimately ends up kidnapped, only for it to be revealed that he was kidnapped by Sir Stabby and the Knights as a part of a night out party. This kind of, hey, welcome to the Knights, you're now a knight of the realm and all that good stuff, congratulations. However, ultimately Marco says that he doesn't have a lifelong post or anything, as he doesn't want to be a knight. Meanwhile, Star is kind of dwelling on the fact that she feels like she kind of made things very awkward between her and Marco, and she doesn't want to leave things this way, only to find one of the breakfast bars that only Marco ever eats on the floor, inquiring as to how he would leave something that he actually enjoys behind. Meanwhile, the knights are actually kind of giving Marco, reading him the riot act for the most part. It's just like you're basically spitting on thousands of years of tradition. You can't just quit. You can't just not have a lifelong goal. And even when Sir Crandall comes in to talk things out, as it turns out the rule book says that yeah, they just kind of basically have to beat up Marco at this point. Meanwhile, Star is talking things over with Eclipse to try to figure out whether or not she should go after Marco or not, or maybe she's overreacting. She's conflicted about the whole situation. And it's actually kind of highlights the fact that even without the curse of the blood moon, they still have this various connection between them that never truly went away, even without the curse of the blood moon. Maybe they don't have this over pushing towards infatuation, but they still have this deep love for each other. And Star ultimately has to just kind of calm herself down and not pursue this or possibly make a situation worse, or get involved in a situation that isn't as bad as it's made out to be. And we see that it really isn't, because even though the rulebook says to, basically beat up Marco, they're not really doing that great of a job of convincing him to come back to the Knights, as Marco's not really interested in becoming a knight. Honestly, he's already been knighted in the negative zone or negazone or whatever, what have you. Like Never Zone, at least like 9 times, he said. So he's already been through his adventures. He's already gone through his quests. He's just kind of ready to move on. It's just, I love the fact that the Neververse actually came into play. Never Zone came into play in the fact that it's just like, yeah, he lived out that fantasy life. He lived out that adventure, and he's kind of over it at this point. And a lot of the others are just like are kind of curious about the Never her zone and all that, like what's going on there, what happened there, but ultimately Sir Stabby decides he's just gonna burn Marco's cloak if he doesn't want to be a knight, which pisses Marco off because Star put in a lot of time and effort into that cloak, so he doesn't want to see it burn, and ultimately he ends up breaking out of the chair and beating everyone up, just to move beyond them. And he just shows such an adeptness at just not getting caught or not suffering any injury. The knights are nothing to Marco. And when Sir Crandall asks him, it's just like, why would you give up this opportunity? Why would you not even care about this? And Higgs kind of calls him out on his bullshit for the most part. It's just like, well, that's because he weaseled his way into becoming a squire, and even becoming a knight he feels he's too good for. So Marco's just like, okay, fine, and he opens up a portal to the Never Zone in order to let them experience it for themselves. And when Higgs goes in and comes back after years of adventuring in the Neververse, she's ultimately like, yeah, this Muni has nothing for me at this point, because she had abs and she lived a long life with various experiences and knowledge and time and all of that. It's just like, yeah, no, I don't want to stay in a world where I have to relive my adolescence, which is just like, yeah, word to that. And Marco later goes up to find Star, and she's kind of moping about the whole situation, feeling bad because she feels like she pressured Marco into something that he didn't ultimately want. But Marco shows that ultimately his best experience in all of Muni is just being her friend, and he's perfectly content on potentially just coming back to visit and hanging out. and we end the episode on a very sweet image. And I especially love the fact that their two emblems kind of form a heart, which goes to show that maybe that it reinforces the fact that the curse of the blood moon might not have truly been what brought them together in the end. That maybe it was just inevitable just because they have just that close of a bond. And then we turn over to the B side titled Queen Napped, where we find that in the morning, Queen Eclipsa has been kidnapped. With even Janna saying it's just like, who would be powerful enough to kidnap Queen Eclipsa? With, that being a very short list of people. Like, who could possibly have kidnapped her? And Star uses the all-seeing eye in order to locate Eclipsa and these shadowy people who have kidnapped her and are asking for several thousand in gold for her ransom. And threaten to harm her should Star keep using the eye. But Star doesn't want to create a panic amongst the populace, so she wants everyone to keep this on the down low. So naturally, Ponyhead has already posted this to social media. Star ends up doing some damage control in order to kind of calm the people down and reassure them that Eclipsa will be saved. But something that shocked me, honestly, is not just are the Mewmans not too upset about the fact that she's gone, but neither are the monsters. Like, none of the monsters really care that Eclipsa is gone. They don't really give a damn. And it's just like, I thought the monsters liked Eclipsa. Has Eclipsa really been that terrible of a queen to the point where not even the monsters care for her? Because I know that one monster was upset because they had to eat food out of a bowl, but that was on Manfred, not Eclipsa. But Janna says that she, has gotten some clues as to where Eclipsa probably is, and she figures that they're down in the underworld because she recognized the flames in the background, only for Star to receive another message from the kidnappers showing them in a different location that looked like a graveyard, only for them to almost be set upon by a flying arrow shot from Babs from the Assassin's Guild, who had actually been sending out a ransom note delivery with a bit of a riddle showing Eclipsa in a different location. So they assumed it was nearby the beach when they asked around for some mer people who exclaimed that while they don't care as to what happens with Eclipsa, they do actually care a little bit about the whole, live stream that Ponyhead has going, with Star kind of berating Ponyhead and saying that you're probably the reason why the kidnappers are moving around so much and why we can't seem to catch up with Eclipsa. And Star even goes as far as to start grilling Larry Keltbottom, figuring him to be the kidnapper of Eclipsa. But, Star really has nothing to base this on and starts to have a little bit of a nervous breakdown, only to be snapped out of it by Ponyhead, who, gives her a bit of a clue as to where to go as Star starts to realize that, this letter she received that's a bill for, the electronic company that Seahorse works for actually gave her all the information she needed. So they end up going to this abandoned warehouse for the product and all that, and they do end up finding Queen Eclipsa. And then come to realize that Seahorse was the true mastermind behind all of this. And we even come to find out that Eclipsa hadn't been completely captured and sealed off. This entire time she had actually been playing a Reflector Core virtual reality video game. And all the scenery they saw in the background was Reflector Core technology as well. And the hooded figures from before were Ponyhead's sisters, which tipped Star off that the ultimate culprit was Ponyhead herself. And Ponyhead reveals that all of this was part of the Ponyhead show and a method to get all the humans and monsters in the want to see Eclipsa rescued. And with that, kind of get Eclipse a bit in their good graces, as before they didn't so much care about seeing Eclipse rescued, but now they actually cared because of the live stream. And Star actually feels a little bit glad about the fact that Ponyhead actually managed to help out in a very twisted and messed up way that's very bad, but she's relieved for the most part. Until Ponyhead tells her that she still owes Reflecticore money for all of the equipment that she disappeared during the end of the episode a few episodes back. So a very nice bit of continuity as overall in this episode. It was cool to see a callback to the whole Reflecticore thing and the Ponyhead show, even though, man, I really do not care for Ponyhead a lot of the time. She's just too much for me. She's too much for me, bro. And like like even when she does good things, quote unquote good things, it still is just like, yeah, I don't like you, Ponyhead. I like Eclipsa, but I do not care for Ponyhead. But she did a good deed for the most part. Eclipsa seems, I have to highlight that, to be in the good graces of the people, but honestly, apparently Eclipse just has not been doing enough to win over the populace for the most part. And I wonder how this is going to end up coming to a head after all this. Will the people still not accepting Eclipse cause her to delve deeper into darkness and free Globgore, the only person who loves her unequivocally? Or will Eclipse continue to try her best in order to just gain favor with her people? And not to mention, I'd love to see Marco just being very competent, really showing off all the skills and stuff that he got from the Never Zone. We don't really see enough of that because it seems like he reverts all the time. But hey, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What was your favorite part? What part did you love the most, or what part did you hate the most? And where do you see a lot of this going? Because it feels like we're still getting allusions to certain, plot points and elements for the most part that are really starting to kind of come to a head. And do you think that ultimately this will end with a bitter farewell with Star and Marco, or will they leave on good terms? We still need that beach episode. And do you think Eclipsa will truly manage to win over the hearts and minds of her people, or will that just go up in smoke as well? Again, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you liked this video, feel free to leave me a like, and if you didn't, feel free to leave me a dislike. And subscribe for more episode reviews of Star vs. the Forces of Evil, because I'll definitely continue to bring you more magical episodes. And if you want, find me on social media links by googling Duuz-Diz-Din. I'm everywhere and ever tired. And until the next episode, remember that your friends will always be your true source of magic. Bye-bye.